Hello to you and welcome to Adelante Chicago. Bienvenidos. I'm Lourdes Duarte. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so the COVID pandemic has impacted Latinos in incredible numbers. That trend continues as the Omicron variant took the lead. Joining us now to break down fact from fiction is Dr. Juanita Mora. She's been at the forefront of this pandemic, helping families in the Pilsen community. Always nice to see you.
So great to see you too,
All right,
Jordan.
with the sparkly stethoscope, right?
Yes.
So popular. I want to talk about the Omicron variant and the impact that it is having on our Latino neighborhoods like Pilsen, Little Village. We saw a surge in cases, back a year ago. That same surge continues today in those neighborhoods.
Absolutely, and what we're seeing is an even higher actual surge, Lourdes, because of the fact that now we have vaccines, but there's so much of our population that's still unvaccinated. So what we're seeing is now we're entering flu season as well too, and we're braving for a twindemic because we have flu cases rising as well as COVID-19 cases as well too. And Omicron has come here and really Delta used to be one person could actually spread it to about 4 people, right? With the Omicron variant, one person could spread it to 10 people. And it really is contagious as the measles.
It's running rampant, yeah. Talk about the vaccinations, because I keep looking at the number of hospitalizations, and we hear that same statistic over and over and over again, that 80% of the people hospitalized are not vaccinated. Why do you think there's this fear within the Latino community to, one, vaccinate themselves and vaccinate their children? What are you hearing? Has that evolved and changed?
Sure. So one of the big actual theories I hear, well, I already had COVID, or they are getting the Omicron variant and they said, you know what, then I don't need the vaccine because I already had COVID. And what people need to understand, it's really, if you had the Delta variant, you had the Alpha variant, or you have the Omicron variant, your antibodies are only protective against that variant. But new variants are going to come. Vaccines protect against all variants, not just one. And so that's something that we're really driving through on public service announcements and so forth. When it comes to kids, there was a lot of fear, especially because Pfizer is the only vaccine that's actually FDA approved for under emergency use authorization in kids 5 to 11 years of age. We saw cases of myocarditis in the 12 to 17-year-olds that really drove the fear in parents. And I want to tell parents that nationwide we have over 3 million kids that have been completely fully vaccinated ages 5 to 11 years of age with 0 cases of myocarditis. And the most common symptoms are just sore arm, fever. These kids rebound. And it's going to make their actual cases milder even if they get the actual Omicron variant because they're in school already. And these kids, obviously need to be protected as we see a huge increase in pediatric hospitalizations throughout the country.
At Lurie Children's Hospital, they've been talking about it, how they've seen this increase in kids who are coming in with, COVID, respiratory issues. So it is happening more and more. As you talk to some of the Latino families, and when I try to focus on that because of our show, obviously, what is their number one reason? I know they're afraid, but is their fear based on just something that they read online? Is it just word of mouth from other relatives? Like, where is that coming from, and how do we try to minimize that?
The misinformation, yes. Yeah. So some of these theories, I think, come from social media and their own family members. So it's propagation of actual within the Latino community. And it goes like wildfire, the mom tells the grandma tells the aunt, etc. Exactly. So this is how it goes in Latino families. So what we need to do is break that chain of misinformation and really bring truth through it. A lot of the times as well, too, it was that fear of migratory status, Lourdes, that we saw initially. And there's still some fear of that. People who don't want to get vaccinated because they're afraid of what it might do to the migratory status, or they feel like they don't have medical insurance and the vaccine's not going to be free. But I think that information is coming out more and more. Vaccines are free. Vaccines are for everyone. It will not endanger your migratory status, and vaccines save lives. They're safe and efficacious.
Okay. One of the interesting points that you brought up is this idea of an increased risk of diabetes developing in kids post a COVID infection. Is there any truth to that? Is there any data that supports some of those findings?
Sure. So the CDC just came out with a new study that showed an increase of 166% risk in COVID-19, in actual development of diabetes in kids
Who have had
COVID.
COVID.
So not the vaccine, but actual COVID syndrome. And what basically happens is they did a chart review of 500,000 kids, and they saw kids who had had COVID, and they saw that increase in diabetes risk. We don't know if there were any predisposing factors, like was there obesity in the kids? Was there actual lack of movement, bad diet, etc.? And we don't know if the diabetes is transient or it stayed because of the fact that it was only a year review. But what we do know is that if the child presents with increased thirst, increased urination, weight loss, fatigue, loss of appetite, stomach ache, these are red flags because these kids presented 30 days after having had COVID with these actual symptoms. And so now it gives a red flag to pediatricians and to family doctors and parents to watch out for this as a possible complication of COVID. Because Lourdes, there's one thing I can tell you, it's a new virus. There's so much we're still learning. And this is why, with all my heart, I tell parents, get them vaccinated because we don't want the sequela of COVID. We don't want these complications at all.
Yeah. As you look ahead to, obviously my little one is 2 years old, can't be vaccinated. Where are we in getting some of those vaccines for the younger kids approved?
Sure. So Pfizer had to go back a little bit to the drawing board, Lourdes, because it was going to be a 2-vaccine series, and they saw with the vaccine dosage for the 2 to 5-year-olds that there was not enough actual protection built in antibodies compared to placebo. So now they went back to the drawing board, and they're setting a 3-vaccine series in kids ages 2 to 5 years of age. And so we hope to have those by spring or summer. So hang in there, Lourdes.
Hang in there, hang in there. It's a little bit longer to go. All
Yes.
right, Dr. Juanita Mora, thank you so much for being here with us. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Blessings to everyone, and get vaccinated.
All right, there you have it, from her mouth to your ears. So listen up.